Welcome to the exciting world of 1/8 scale unlimited hydroplanes. Capable of speeds over 60 miles per hour, these model hydros are exact replicas of the fastest and most spectacular race boats in the world. The little hydros are nearly 4 feet long, 2 feet wide, and weigh anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds. They're powered by water-cooled 11cc two-cycle engines capable of developing over 4 horsepower at nearly 25,000 RPM. Hundreds of these boats compete in races sponsored by clubs and organizations throughout the U.S. and Canada. In the next hour, we'll look at these hydros up close, meet some of the top drivers and designers, and learn how you can become a part of this growing and exciting sport. We're in Seattle, Washington, the home of unlimited hydroplane racing. Seattle is also home to 2 of the most competitive and experienced scale hydroplane clubs in the country, RC Unlimiteds and Unlimiteds Northwest. RC Unlimiteds was the first club of its kind to organize races specifically for 1/8 scale hydros. Founded by Roger J. Newton in 1976, the club now boasts nearly 100 members and features an 11-race circuit from May through September throughout Washington and Oregon. Considered to be the utmost authority on scale model unlimiteds, Roger Newton has designed over half of the models racing today, as well as being one of the sport's top drivers.
When I was a kid growing up, I started out running tether boats, and then I went in the service after high school. When I got out in the mid-60s, I always thought it'd be nice to run a radio-controlled model hydro. And I was fortunate at that time they were coming out with the new style of radios that we run nowadays, which are called proportional. And my first boat that I built was a model of the Notre Dame, and I competed in the Seattle Model Yacht Club with that in the open 60 hydro class. Fortunate enough to win my first race I was in. So we got the idea germinated in our head that maybe we should separate from the open hydro class and run nothing but scales. And that's basically how it got started. In 1974, at our first race, I believe we had 15 hydros here. Ran in the Gold Cup on Green Lake. 1976 was our first year as a club. 1974 was the first year that the NAMBA organization themselves recognized that their first race was down in San Diego. And I believe they had about 15 hydros there. And since then, it's become the biggest class in organized model boating.
RC Unlimited members pay $10 to join and register a boat. The club maintains a master hull roster listing most every unlimited hydroplane dating back to the 1940s. Since there have been literally hundreds of Unlimiteds that have raced over the years, RC Unlimiteds does not allow any duplicate models. A new member must select an available boat from the roster that no other member is currently racing. This rule ensures each racer his or her own hydro unlike anyone else's, and lessens possible confusion out on the race course. When a new full-size Unlimited hits the water, RC Unlimited members wanting to race a model of that boat must enter a drawing to win the registration. The boats, which are built on a scale of 1.5 inches equals 1 foot, are usually constructed either from wood or fiberglass or a combination of both. Although some wood kits are available, many modelers choose to scratch build their boats from plans. Designers like Roger Newton offer plans for models of famous unlimiteds from back in the 1950s to the latest high-tech hydros racing today.
When I got into the model boats, there were no plans available, and I had a couple years of drafting when I was in high school, so I knew basically what it took to sit down and draw out a set of plans. And I was able to come up with some dimensions and a few smaller profiles of the bigger boats. So when this class started taking off, people around the United States and eventually the world wanted to get plans of the big boats. So I said, well, I can try it. And in 73 and 74, I started selling plans for the boats. And since then, I now have over 350 boats within my catalog available to people that want to buy. Plans sell for $35, and that's a full set of plans. There are 3 sheets available, one sheet showing the paint scheme, the cowling, what the final detail is supposed to look like on the boat. The second sheet is a 3-view layout showing where all the bulkheads and the stringers go. And the third sheet is all the bulkheads laid out. So all you have to do is trace the drawings for the bulkheads out on a piece of wood and cut it out and put it together.
Scratch building requires a fair amount of construction and woodworking skills, and many hours to build a competitive racing hull. A good alternative to scratch building is to buy a fiberglass boat. Glass hydros are usually purchased unpainted and require a few hours to mount the radio gear, engine and hardware, paint and detail. Jeff Hunter, who owns RC Sportscraft of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, builds fiberglass hulls of many past and present Unlimiteds. They're available for under $500. The bare hulls come complete with cowling and wings. Hunter's hulls are well built and have proven to be very competitive. Roger Newton also has designed many of Hunter's fiberglass hulls. He explains his Bubble Miss Budweiser.
This is a model of the 1985-86 Miss Budweiser Griffin. And I had built the plug for this boat, and basically what a plug is, it's like a finished hull. You can build it up out of wood, fiberglass, foam, anything, just so that you have a nice, smooth, finished hull. And then whoever makes the fiberglass molds, well, they have something good to go by. And basically, when you order a fiberglass hull, it takes about 90% of the work out of your hands. And when you get a hull, you have a top and a bottom half usually joined with a cowling and tail fin supplied.
The hydro's engines use a tuned pipe for additional horsepower and a muffler to keep the noise level to a minimum.
Once you have the engine mounted on the boat, then you have to figure out a way to get the exhaust out of the boat. And being as these are scale boats, you should hide the tuned pipe as much as possible. In about 95% of the boats, you would have to run it back through the deck, underneath the deck, out through the transom. With some of the new turbine models, you'd be able to hide the tuned pipe within the big pipe or the full-size turbine.
In an attempt to build the lightest weight hydros, some builders are now using the latest high-tech aerospace materials to construct their models, such as Kevlar and graphite. World record holder Jim Augustin, who is known for his incredibly lightweight boats, proves that you can still build a light boat using good old wood and glue.
I've built 3 Sport 40s, and I've now built 3 scale boats, all using basically the same construction technique. That is, use real light wood and a lot of real small stringer sticks. To give you an idea, it's kind of like if anybody's familiar with what the old style free flight airplanes were built like. Just a lot of little sticks and then real thin sheeting over the top of it. That's the way they're built. My scale boat, the one I'm running now, the boat without the wing, weighs 8.5 pounds.
The easiest and quickest way to enter the sport of scale hydros is to purchase a used boat. Surprisingly, many boats come up for sale because many modelers enjoy building new boats every few years, and they sell their old hydros. Prices can range from under $200 for a hull with no engine or radio to over $1,000 for a completely ready-to-race model. Most boats are controlled by a two-channel radio system. The driver operates a transmitter which controls the rudder and throttle. Some racers use an additional third channel to adjust winglets to help control the boat's riding attitude. A third channel can also be used for a fuel mixture valve. The boats are usually painted with high-quality epoxy or polyurethane paints that provide a tough, long-lasting finish. To determine the proper paint schemes for detailing their boats, modelers study photographs and films of the actual Unlimiteds, and in some cases, the boaters can see their full-size counterparts in person. One of RC Unlimited's purposes is to recreate unlimited hydroplane racing as close as possible in 1/8 scale. Since many spectators attend the racing events, the drivers try to build their boats to look as close as possible to the real thing. Atlas Van Line's driver, Don Mock, explains.
You know, the challenge of building a scale hydroplane is to make it look as scale as possible, yet be light enough to be competitive as a race boat. You know, the extra detailing like the driver and the dashboard, windshield and the cowling and even the wings add a lot of extra weight. So we try to build those as light as possible so the boat is competitive. Now here in Seattle, Washington, we're real fortunate to be the home of unlimited hydroplane racing, and a lot of the boats that are running today and some of the past hydros are here. And so we can sneak down and measure them and get paint schemes. And thanks to the Unlimited Hydroplane Hall of Fame and Museum, Bill Muncie's famous Blue Blaster, the actual Unlimited that this model was built from, is here in Seattle. And it's real fortunate that we can come out and admire this hydroplane. This was Bill Muncie's boat that won so many races, one of the most winningest hulls in the history of the sport. Now, if we were to take the Blue Blaster Atlas Van Line's real hydroplane here and reduce it down to 1/8 its size and try to run it as a model, it may not be actually that competitive. So what we do is we make a few modifications to the hulls to make it more competitive as models, because the water's different when it's smaller. So our rule book in RCU says that we can modify certain dimensions of the boat. Number one, we can modify the length, plus or minus 1 inch to the actual 1/8 scale. We can widen the boat up to 10%, and we can change any of the other modifications, the afterplane length, which is this, or the pickle fork depth, which is this. We can modify that up to 10%, plus or minus. The most common modification is the width. Most skate modelers will widen the boats up to the full 10% to help in the cornering. They turn a little better when they're a little bit wider than scale. So the actual Atlas Van Lines here is about a little over 13 feet wide. And if you were to scale that down to a 1/8 scale hydroplane, that would be a little over 19.5 inches. This boat has been widened, it's 10%, which makes it a little over 21.5 inches wide.
Although some of the special detailing and running hardware are homemade, many hobby stores do carry necessary gear for the scale hydro racer. Wagner's Hobby in Auburn, Washington features a model boat department catering to the model boater. Owner Harvey Wagner offers valuable advice to someone interested in starting out in model hydros.
For somebody getting into it, it's a good idea just to go down and watch some boats run, really. You know, watch them first, ask lots of questions, you know, get some help before you just run out and buy something, you know, which is really the way I would suggest, you know, getting into the boating. If you want to compete. And it eliminates a lot of headaches, you know, for the beginner, because there always is some headaches, you know, and setting a boat up, you know, it's always very helpful to get some help.
The two-cycle engines that power these boats run on fuel containing nitromethane and lubricants. Most drivers choose fuel containing 40, 50, or even 60% nitro. One-eighth scale hydros race under rules very similar to the real Unlimiteds. The only obvious difference is the models race in a clockwise direction due to engine torque. The boats race in elimination heats 5 or 6 boats at a time, with each driver trying to score enough points to compete in the final heat. With 40 or more hydros struggling to make the 6-boat final, the competition can really be exciting. The course the boats race on is generally about the size of a football field. In a typical 5-lap heat, The hydros travel nearly a mile in less than 90 seconds. Styrofoam buoys are used to set up a course to prevent serious damage to a hydro in case it accidentally hits one.
Ready to go.
3 minutes before the start.
Lucky guys.
Of the second consolation.
Ready?
Time at Cup 19.
To start a heat at a race, the drivers are given a 3-minute time period to start their boats and launch them onto the race course. A time clock is used as the boats mill around the course to prepare for the flying start. Drivers attempt to cross the starting line just as the clock hits 0.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If a boat miscalculates and jumps the gun, it must run an extra lap. At a recent RC Unlimited's race in Spokane, Washington, hydro expert and TV commentator Mike Fitzsimmons was on hand to call the final heat.
As they parade past us now with 1:21 left on the clock, we have the Timex passing by us now, along with Howard Price of the Oh Boy Oberto, and the boat that's had a very good afternoon today as well, Miss Budweiser, the Bubble Bud, a replica of the first Ron Jones cab over which has ever featured a bubble or a closed canopy. Coming down now to the 1 minute mark. Inside a minute now, the Budweiser and the Oh Boy Oberto appear to be keying on each other as they cut the course to the inside, as does the Timex and the Pay and Pack circling the upper portion of the race course. Everybody will make one more loop now before they come down for the start. 40 seconds on the clock. The 30-second mark is, of course, the equivalent of the 1 minute gun in unlimited racing. In RCUs, 30 seconds is all needed. Now the Bud keys on the Atlas Van Lines and the Oh Boy Oberto in the lower corner. We've got a dead boat, and it's the Pay and Pack. Bad luck. Bad luck for Dave Jensen, the Pay and Pack, dead at the entrance pin to the upper corner with 19 seconds left on the clock. Very bad luck. The boat has had a perfect day so far and goes down in the final heat without an opportunity to compete. This is good luck for, of course, the Miss Budweiser with 6 seconds now on the clock as Roger Newton decides to take the inside lane. He's going to be challenged by all the rest as they come across the line. We've got a legal start. The Budweiser with Roger Newton takes the inside lane and shows them the short way around the course, followed by the 72 Budweiser and the Oh Boy Oberto, the Timex, and trailing is the Alice Van Lines. Good competition into the bridge turn. Whoa! And oh, the Miss Budweiser goes over, and a lap penalty. Do we have a penalty? The 72 Miss Budweiser, no penalty. The 72 Bud leads. A 1 lap penalty, we're told officially now. That makes your leader the Oh Boy Oberto and not the Miss Budweiser. The Oh Boy Oberto got into this one by virtue of winning the consolation race. Howard Price is out front in the Diamond Cup. He's being trailed by the Miss Timex. Mike Hamilton in 3rd place overall. It's Jeff Hunter's Atlas Van Lines.
Hard, or you can settle for 3rd.
And the Miss Budweiser, the 72 Budweiser. Dave Blackston is in last place overall by virtue of a violation. Whoa, almost hooking to the inside of the Timex. Meanwhile, the Oh Boy Oberto starting to run away with it. Howard Price and the Oh Boy Oberto has got a half a course lead, half a back chute lead now on the Miss Timex, which is trying to make up the ground. The Oh Boy Oberto tightens up the corner. Timex coming in tight as well. Oberto comes across still a quarter of a course length ahead of the Timex. In 3rd place overall, it's the Alice Van Lines, trailing 4th because of the violation, the 1972 Bud being driven by Dave Blackston. All right, here comes the Oh Boy Oberto. Across the finish line, the winner of the Diamond Cup. Oh Boy Oberto. Howard Price, 2nd place Miss Timex. Mike Hamilton, 3rd place overall is the Atlas Van Lines, this boat.
I'm sorry, I didn't give you a little more warning.
Jeff Hunter from Coeur d'Alene. And wrapping it up, it'll be the 1972 Miss Budweiser.
You got a guy to get your boat?
Huh?
Recently in Seattle, both scale hydro clubs got together and put on a benefit race for local charities. The race was staged at a very unusual place, the parking lot of Seattle's Kingdome. A special lake was built for the race by bulldozing a dirt dike in a rectangle shape, then filled with over 2 feet of water. The extremely tight course provided some very wild and exciting racing. Bill Smiley, driving his Turbine Pay and Pack, won the event, which had over 60 entries.
That's our old friend Roger and Dee. Yep, there he is. Both that ran back east as the Mississippi Beverages came to Seattle and raced as the Northwest Tank Service and said Cairo News Radio on the tail. That was the year that we started the Cairo News Radio format. And I got the owner, Jack Higgins, to put our name on the tail of the boat. And to the detail, it's on the tail of this boat. That absolutely amazes me. Good. The way these guys have detail. Look at this start now. 2 seconds. And it's going to be short circle. Field across the line. And here comes the blue blast and the Atlas van line. And you've got 3 boats in 1 turn. The KISW taking on a little bit of water. Boy, does Fred Leland wish his boat would run like that. Short circuit now is passed. We have a new leader at the end of lap 1. It's the blue blast and the Atlas van line. But the U-77 is giving chase and has the inside. Look at this race. Side by side down the front straightaway and into the turn. Oh, he gets wet down the rooster tail, no problem. Picks it up. What a great race by these 2 drivers. The Atlas van line's in now. The 77's ahead. The KISW has the advantage on the inside. The Atlas is right in his rooster tail. How many laps did they run? About 3.5. Super job of driving by the 77 of KISW. Listen, we're at lap 4 now. He opens up a little bit of water over the Atlas van line. Third is the short circuit. Fourth is the Northwest Tank Service. And there is the checkered flag. What a job of racing. Thank you.